podcast show.
Hi everybody, I'm Rich Myers and welcome to the Rich Myers podcast show. I'm here tonight with Pilgrims Grits. How you doing?
Not too shabby, Rich. Thank you so much for the invite. Greatly appreciated.
I listened to your track, Long Way Down. It was
long way down, indeed. Yes.
It was pretty interesting.
In what way, Rich? What did it kind of tickle?
It was
if anything.
Sort of. I don't know. Sort of. When I watched the video, and it was sort of like a cartoon,
Right. That's right. Yeah. Kind of abstract, a little bit psychedelic, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But it was a pretty good song, though.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, there's a lot more coming out soon, so there we have it.
Okay. Let's give it a listen to it.
Let's do it.
Boogeyman came out tonight, and so I ended up in a fight. Same old story, but a different song. And all the lies that had been told, I turned my back on the good shipper. Didn't play my ace, why did I wait so long? So it's high to low and low to high. We love, we hate, we live, we die. Up, down, hot and cold, and the flames die young. So find your meaning not in this world, but in the sun and the living word. For the last train splits the tracks out of Babylon. To a long way down when you fall. To a long way down when you fall. To a long way down when you fall. And you better get up from the floor. You better show you made 'em up. You better reach the light before you hit the setting sun. When the soul's men bring, it's been split and torn. My last pair of shoes broken and worn. Barefoot through the night to beat a setting sun. Now it's east to west and south to north. The folding of time's bar it on. Makes you tremble as the King of Kings breaks into the dawn. Now the ship is going down anyway. Without him at the helm, there's hell to pay. You'll be taking on way too much water for the day is done. So unless you're on board there with the Lord, well, you may as well jump overboard. For the last wave hits the boat and you fall headlong. To a long way down when you fall. To a long way down when you fall. To a long way down when you fall. And you better get up from the floor. You better show you made 'em more. You better reach the light before you hit the setting sun.
excellent song.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
What influenced it?
It was, it's kind of all these abstract bits and pieces pulled together, but I think more than anything else, and that's reflected in most of the songs I'm putting out at the moment, it's this middle ground between secular music and gospel, and it's the darker side of gospel. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that we've got to sometimes give cautionary tales and remind people of the darkness in life that comes about if we don't take the right path. Because I'm of the theory, Rich, that not all gospel music needs to be incredibly uplifting worship music. Some of it, there is a little space where some of it can be darker, because sometimes we listen to darker warnings more than positive, uplifting songs. Do you know what I mean? So that's what that song is trying to do. It's trying to put up the warning signs, so to speak, but at the end, it's showing you a positive message. And that's reflected in a lot of what I'm trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like people stop for a red light, but if it's yellow, they just keep on going. They don't stop.
Exactly.
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 Can you tell me about the other songs and concerts and what's next?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a brand new project, Rich, to be honest. You know what I mean? I've sort of done a full circle, and this feels like it's kind of the final chapter. I played in bands in England, that's where I'm from, in Spain, in Florida. I was on the A circuit and the B circuit for a while. But the most time I've spent playing has been in Colombia, South America, where I had a British indie rock band. I know that sounds incredibly unusual, but it was such a novelty down there for Colombians that we packed places out. We weren't that good, but we packed places out. So they're like, what are all these crazy Brits doing here, playing this crazy music? So that really worked as well. So after so many countries, so many different bands, so many different life experiences, sitting around bonfires in the desert in Afghanistan with an acoustic guitar and writing some of these songs in the most bizarre places. This is kind of like the chapter where I go back, I recapitulate, and I put the songs that tell the story together. And that's what this album's kind of going to be. You know what I mean? Like a sort of last final chapter and recapitulation of these are all the things and the lessons that I've learned. How can I condense them into a 3-minute song? You know what I mean? and still kind of get the message across.
Has your music changed since the beginning of your career?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. It was heavier. It was rock orientated. The whole circle really is seeing that the rock and roll lifestyle really at the end of the road where it finally leads, it is often a very dark place. And I think I found that out the hard way, having lost 3 members of past bands.
Wow.
To either drugs or alcohol. So as a consequence of that, I think the message I'm trying to give is one of redemption, and that if you only follow the rock and roll darker pathway, no matter how strong you feel, you're not going to end up necessarily in the right place. Do you know what I mean? And all the songs don't have to be in a minor pentatonic rock and roll key. We can have some uplifting, redeeming messages at the end of our music, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I have to admit, right, and here's a confession for you. We have, since the very early 60s, the springboard and the foundation of everything I believe we did as Brits, right, was all built on the foundation of your music, of Americana. You know what I mean? It really was across the board, from blues to folk to Appalachian to soul, you name it. Do you know what I mean? We came in, we stole it to some degree, but we put some darn interesting twists on it. You know what I mean? And I think that was a breath of fresh air. But of course it was derivative. Of course it was derivative. But we certainly did some interesting stuff with it. But it belongs here. Its foundations are from this fine country. You know what I mean?
Where can people go and see your videos, music, and events?
Yeah, well, Rich, what I'm going to try and do is every couple of weeks put out a new song. You saw I'm trying to get some sort of weirder abstract videos together for these songs. You know what I mean? So there's going to be one out about every 2 or 3 weeks. You're talking YouTube, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, of course, as well, but YouTube being the main one. And then, of course, everything is coming out on Spotify, iTunes, and all of those other streaming devices. So probably a song every 2 or 3 weeks. Album should be ready in about another month or two, and that'll be available. And if it gets traction, I'll keep going, man. Yeah. I've got about 35 songs that the last 4 decades have given me. You know what I mean? Yeah, but listen, I love what you're doing, old boy. I really do. And, thanks particularly for opening up the door for us smaller artists. You know what I mean? Because there's always an interesting story behind every small artist, a whole life story in many cases. So it's good you're giving us a stage.
What would you do without music? What would you be doing?
Oh, mate. I mean, I honestly believe I'm going to get a bit sort of woo and abstract here, but everything is vibration, isn't it, Rich? You know what I mean? And if the vibration is not making harmony, there's just nothing. There's no reality, so to speak. So, you could argue even from a sort of quantum philosophical and scientific level that vibration and harmony is everything, and music is right at the point where that creates art. Do you know what I mean? So I just think the whole universe would collapse, Rich, without it. To be honest, it's never mind what I do. It's like what would be left. Not much. Maybe a little green globule would be left. That would be it, because the whole universe would collapse. Sorry, there was a bit of a Spinal Tap reference there. I couldn't help myself.
Well, thanks for being on the show tonight. I really enjoyed having you.
Yeah, you too, Rich. Now, keep it up. Keep up the good work. And I'll shoot you a copy of the album when it's out. Sound good?
Yes.